Good morning, my friends. How you doing today, Stuart? Always great to see you, my buddy. How you doing? Thank you there. As always, Stuart, really appreciate you being a member and the gifts that you've given in the last few streams. It means much more than you think. KF Naveen, how we doing, guys? Let's go. How you all feeling today? How is everybody feeling this morning, this afternoon? Are you starting to get a little bit nervous or not? Money Mouse, my guy, how's it going? We would win 3-1 today. You think so? You think so? You think so? How are how are the nerves? I mean, I'm curious how everybody is feeling about this today. Shitting it? Yeah, yeah. I feel like I was saying yesterday that I felt pretty confident. Um, but then, as time goes on, I would definitely say I feel less and less and less confident and a little bit more a little bit more nervous. Just tweet that United is finished and I go for a walk. There you go. Go for a walk again. Go for a walk again. Good God, good. Navigating that atmosphere is gonna be, yeah. And I gotta say though, I wanna say something. Obviously, I'll wait for everybody to kind of get in here to yap about everything we want to yap about today, because there's a lot to yap about today, news wise and about the game. If we had a full strength team, I would feel more confident. Yeah, I mean, sure, right? I definitely feel like the second leg is advantage us. Obviously, it's at home in the second leg. But also by the second leg, we will have Delict and Ahmad fully fit. Very likely, they should be available to start. We'll really just be missing Xerxes, which is a miss, mind you. But yeah, for sure. While you all are getting here, please make sure to like the video, share if you're on Twitter and such. Please retweet. It really means a lot to me. I appreciate you guys. I've been working hard on the channel, and I need to be a little bit better still, as always, about promoting, and doing the things I'm supposed to do to build it up. I really would like, by the end of this summer, for this to be something that could become a career, because there's a lot more I could do if it was something if I could commit full time to it. But anyway, neither here nor there. But thank you all for being here, and please make sure to like the stream and the video and all that. Can we jump, Wilcox? He's so negative. Martinez too, yeah. I kind of figure he's out for a long time. Good evening, Pearson. What's your favorite away performance of United in Europe that I can remember? Shoot. I'm gonna jog my memory here, so I'm gonna look up some of them and see if I can. Because I know the Devils talked about this, right? Man, I mean, I can't remember that. Like, I just don't remember that many. You know what I mean? PSG away, even though it wasn't that long ago, was still sticks out in my memory. And even though we didn't win anything that season, it still sticks out in my memory. Because it was. I'll give you a few reasons why for that, of course, right? Because it was such an interesting time. Obviously, like, there's been some really impactful moments, even during this time that we've been shit. I think there's been some really impactful moments that have meant a lot to me, um, and that was one of them. Obviously, it was, we had this feeling with Solskjaer when he came in and all of that. That was there. That was big at that time. Ollie's at the wheel. All of that stuff kind of came from that. It was a big moment. Um, but not just that. Let's see. My son was born like 2 months prior to that, and I was holding him little tiny baby, while watching that game, just absolutely fucking bricking it the entire game. And that was the first time in his life that he was that he was absolutely terrified by my reaction to a football game. So so in that respect, there's an emotional connection to that performance in that game, even though it was not the most important and most meaningful away game at all in United's history. It meant a lot to me. I think that counts, right? It meant a lot to me. And so maybe that's what matters. But there's other ones for sure. There's no doubt about it. I mean, um, uh, geez, some of the ones you guys have mentioned, I don't have as great a memory of, quite honestly. But yeah, I'm sure. I'm. Let me think here about it. I'm trying to think of one I can really remember. I mean, of course, obviously the treble one, but it's not like I remember that as a live thing. Um, um, I mean, the win against Arsenal, right? That one was pretty big. I remember that one. I remember that one. That one I do remember. That one was pretty significant, it felt like to me. But yeah. Is it true that Ten Hag refused to work with Rangnick and wanted full V? Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. He was a big part of the decision making, or at least a big part of influence on when he was coming in, that he didn't want Rangnick involved. Rangnick wanted to be like, look, I'm not even saying it would have been a good idea, but Rangnick, um, I always remember the Arsenal rivalry, by the way, just on that point. Like I for whatever reason, Arsenal is to me. I've said this before. I'm an Arsenal hater, and to them, that rivalry sticks out to me a lot, and that maybe that's why some of those games I remember that. I don't know if how well Rangnick would have done, but I think as a recruitment guy, an eye for talent, he probably would have been better than the alternatives, no doubt about that. Um, and yeah, when Ten Hag came in back then, one of his main requests was, he was asked, "Do you want Ralph Rangnick to stick around?" Ralph Rangnick was going to stay on a consultancy role, and he said, "Nah, I don't want him. I don't want him involved." When United were finishing up the contract with him, if you remember back then, there was all of a sudden these stories about like Bayer Leverkusen and a few other clubs like Dortmund or something, like all like, ooh, they're about to get Ten Hag, and maybe they're gonna gazump and go in, and we got played, man. We got played by SEG, SEG Sports. We got played by SEG Sports, and then they owned us from there on. And Ten Hag was able to leverage those agent to discussions to get that kind of power. I mean, it's the same thing like when an agent is leveraging other clubs to get you to pay a higher wage. We got played by Ten Hag's agent to give him a hell of a lot more power and influence than we should have and wanted to. So that's business, isn't it? I mean, I can't blame them. That's their job, right? Um, but, but but I can't blame them considering how it worked out. That was absolutely horrendous. Um, can't believe we actually did that in the first case. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, that was true. His son works in SEG as well, and that's the part of it that makes it a little bit more shaky ground. Is that because he's got like I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to make accusations. The past is the past, but I do think it's not right. Somebody has a family member in an agency that ends up getting a shitload of money, like hundreds of millions in deals through them, for your club. It's a bit weird to me. I think that's a bit shady. I mean, for most businesses, you would have to disclose something like that and essentially excuse yourself from these types of things. In a lot of business dealings, if you had situations like that, it wouldn't be allowed. So it's an odd one. I understand your perspective about players wanting to see our final standings. However, if we qualify for the Champions League this season, it will significantly impact our potential for success. I hear that, but I don't think it's that factual. Like I don't think it's that meaningful, you know, because I don't think that here's the other factor in that, Joel. Like I because you're not wrong, right? You are not wrong. That is a balanced take on it. But at the same time, um, I don't think that players should be looking at it from the basis of how much are you going to spend in the market. There are players who that was a factor in how they viewed things, right? Like Paul Pogba. One of the reasons he joined was promises, right? About how much are you going to invest in the market? How much are you going to spend? How much are you going to build? Where are you going? And all of that, right? Um, but he was Paul Pogba, not Liam Delap. You know what I mean? It was Paul Pogba, not Liam Delap. The point is, why does Liam Delap deserve? What has he done that makes him even be able to look at a club and say, "Well, I want to know they're on the way to winning titles"? You're being relegated, bro. You know, you go play at a different club. You go play in the championship, right? Right now, you should be looking at what's the best football fit for me. Period. You know, what's the best football fit for me as a football club where I can perform at a high level. You're young. You're gonna get it. You could have time for another move at that point. You know, you don't get to at that age with that little bit of experience. Say, I want to go to a club that is going to spend money in the market. Like, come on, man. That doesn't that it's still presumptive, you know. He's there are players that I think that starts to make a bit more sense for, but there's others that are not. Again, it may not be true though. It may not be true about Liam Delap. It may not be true. It may be he's just waiting for the end of the season because maybe other clubs are saying, "Hey, wait, you know, hold on for us." That being said, the reason I don't buy that part of it is that we have had it reported well by Fabrizio Romano and such that it's pretty much between Chelsea and United, and that it's not in the Bundesliga clubs. He's not going to consider joining and all of that. Once again, as you guys are here, please do like the stream. We can get at least to 100 with everybody who's here, so please do that. Why are people writing off the Enzo signing and saying we're becoming Brighton? Well, because they are people are very impatient, right? You know, how many years did people say we should be, you know, we should be doing the Brighton thing. We should be getting these Brighton players in and all of that. And then we start doing it and they're like, wait, not like that. You know, I wanted the Brighton Caicedos that instantly turn into it, except, you know, you don't know until that actually happens. Nobody can predict the future, right? But you know, let's talk about Enzo quickly here, briefly. So we'll get into it with Enzo. I did a video obviously this morning talking about him. You know, he's got 10 goal contributions in 1,200 minutes, but there's not much you can find out about the kid. I do recommend watching the video I did this morning. I do recommend watching the video I did this morning. There's not a lot to know about Enzo, but I did my best to find it. I went through, there's a scouting report that somebody put together on him there. I've watched a few clips and things like that I could find, but obviously I've barely seen him in general. All of us have, right? We've barely seen the kid. Um, but yeah, you know, it's an interesting name. He's an interesting kid. Comes from a very football family. And the other thing that's I think really notable about this is the club he's coming from. You know, Le Havre is a very I mean, it's produced some crazy talents. I went through some of the list of them in that video this morning as well, and it was. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we knew right, Paul Pogba and all of that, but when you look at the players out there, Riyad Mahrez, Mandanda, I mean, Mateta, like there's so many players that have come through that club at one point in time for such a small club that the kind of talent that they have produced is incredible. Um, it's really, really cool to see that. So, hey, it might be something really, really interesting there. I mean, both Ferland Mendy and Benjamin Mendy. You know, for as far as footballing goes, it's a different discussion, but you know, it's yeah, it's a different. It's very, very interesting. And I really hope it works out. He's as far as we know, he's in Manchester and should be signing his deal today, what have you, to get done. But this is the type of strategy, the type of thing that United have needed to be doing for some time. I mean, how many years have we gone, not making these early signings when we need to make them, not getting these signings ahead of time. Um, oh, Sully says, Enzo Kana has successfully completed his medical tests and officially signed his Manchester United contract today. The 18-year-old French striker is set to join as a free agent, first signing of the summer done. I do believe that's accurate, by the way. I do believe that that's accurate. Just for what it's worth, I think it is. That was the timing was all there. I've spoken with him, and we both kind of knew some of the things upcoming this week. So I do believe that's accurate. He'll move over to Lausanne, I think, is the plan come summer, and then we'll see in a year where he's at. But I like that we're doing this. I really, really do like that we're doing this. It's something we should have been doing a long time. I made that video at 3:00 this morning, my time, 2:30 or something like that. So I'm a bit tired. I couldn't sleep. Barely got any sleep last night. Nothing to do with the game or something like that. Just life and things. But just couldn't sleep last night, and so I made that video very early because I thought I'll see what I can find on the kid while I'm sitting here in the middle of the night. And yeah, it's interesting. Question: Is Dorgu experienced enough to be a regular starter for the first team? He's 20, whereas Ever was 25 when we first signed him. I think it's very much too early to tell because like Smokey says there, like first of all, Ever was really bad when he joined us too, right? He took a good 6 months to get going. Dorgu's much younger, much less experienced. Right now, is Dorgu good enough? No. That being said, I still firmly believe, based on what we have seen out of Patrick Dorgu so far, if you watch the games before and after, especially again, I say our performances have improved, even though we're not winning games, right? I mean, if you go back through that list of games, like we kind of discussed this previously, we've actually been all right. I mean, we've been okay when you look at everything. If you kind of look at the results that we've seen recently, Bournemouth, we were the better team. Wolves, we were the better team. Lyon, we were the better team. This was a disaster. City, we were the better team. Forest, the better team. We won that one. We were better against Sociedad, better against Arsenal. Fulham was a bit messy, no doubt about that. And then Ipswich. And the thing about it is that like we've definitely been better in recent times as a unit. You know what I mean? As a unit, the things work better with him in the team. It's more cohesive. Yeah, everything functions a bit better. You see more of what we're trying to do. We are getting up the pitch often a bit better, even though some of the execution isn't quite there all the time. So I think he's made a positive impact, and I think what it goes to show is like we can improve the players. There's no doubt about that. But I think that the impacts on the team playing by the system show that the system is good. The team looks better because he fits. Yeah, Nicholas, agreed. Like it's a little less about him, and this is the interesting like debate about player quality versus fit and things, right? Because you can have a team that's really well, like this is where people will say, "Oh my God, like wait, we're below Palace in the table, so we have a worse team than Palace." We have a worse team because we're lower in the table. All our players are worse. It's not true. It's not really true. Like it's hard sometimes to measure how much of a squad's execution is about fit and how much is about talent and where the break is, because there's, when the more have the players who fit, the better we look. Even if those players aren't playing particularly well, we still look better. We've still been the better team in like 9 out of our last 10 games, simply because we have the players a slightly better to fit the system. And we're still pretty not even like on it 100%, but we look better because of that. We look better because we have that there, instead of the imbalances that we've had. Now we're still missing quite a bit. Like we saw this before, right? When we were talking about when we talked about like Ahmad, when Amram first came in and he was using Ahmad as a wing back. When we played wingers at wing back, we looked 5 times better. Ahmad could be on the pitch, but if he was at the 10 versus wing back, it was really different in terms of our performance, right? And how we played, and it's because of fit, right? When you have the team fits together, it can be the same personnel almost, but it fits the system and it works. And one of the reasons we struggled, of course, is because that Amarim's in there insisting on a system when he doesn't have the players for it, and that's a known thing. So teams like Palace, teams like Forest, teams like Fulham, they're not better. They don't have better players on average. They have some better players, no doubt about that. But they are built better. They fit the system better. They fit what they're trying to do better. And so it's kind of interesting on that impact. The fit raises, I think, the floor of the team, right? Like if we had a team that was well built with Amram's system, I think it's a good system. He's a good coach. The ceiling, we don't know yet. But if we have a team that actually fits that, I think with the level of players we have, the floor is a lot higher. The player quality is certainly going to determine how high that can go. From there, the players need to get better. From there, the players have to improve. From there, we can really judge, is this guy good enough? Is this guy bad enough? Is this guy, doing what is needed? All of that. You can see, for example, like Lissandro, him in there as a player who was a progressor of the ball from the back, that he solved a lot of the problems in the system. But that's a necessary part of fitting, right? And then, you think about Lenny Yoro, and once he started being brave, carrying the ball up from deep, being aggressive, making those runs forward, making those attacks into the opposition half, being brave to progress the ball from the center back position. When he started doing that, we immediately looked better. Same player, but he started to do the things that he needed to do to fit within the system and be more confident in it, and it raised the levels of the team, right? So it's about doing the actions, more than anything. Do we have players who can do the actions? And some of them will learn to do the action, and that will improve the fit of the team, like in the case of Lenny Yoro, and some of them can't. It's just some of them can't. So yeah, how can we register Mantato and not Cheeto? So the rules with Europa is that if it's 2 years, they can be added to the B list, unlimited numbers of them at any time, right? But if they've only recently joined, they had to be specifically registered, and there was only 3 additional spots in January for that. So Cheeto Obi, Kone, they joined more recently, so we would have had to register them for those 3 additional, as one of those 3 additional spots to use. Whereas if they've been here, you can have as many as you want on the B list if they've been here for more than 2 years, basically. They're always free to be within the squad if they're on the B list, if they've been here for multiple years, that's why. We're built for 4-3-3. We loaned out our starting right wing and left wing and only brought in 1 left wing back. Yeah, exactly. I want to see Dorgu at left wing back with Ahmad at right wing back. And we might see that finally next Thursday. Yeah. And that'll be the big difference. That will be the big difference. Because again, the other thing that's kind of hilarious about this is the 2 most important positions in an Amarim team are the wing backs. And they're the 2 positions we've been playing without the natural fit players most of Amarim's time. And the one that he has that is a natural fit there in Patrick Dorgu has been here 5 minutes, and is inexperienced and young. So it's kind of wild in that respect. Like the key positions for the system are missing. The most important positions, right? They're missing. It would have been nice if Ahmad didn't get injured. I have a feeling things would be just ever so slightly different right now. You know what I mean? Here, let me just share this really quick. Yeah, so just was sharing from Sully about Enzo. So it was well timed on the video that I posted this morning, with the expectation that he would be done here. The next thing I want to definitely, well, you think we'll see Enzo on preseason tour? You know, it's a good question. I think he'll go straight over to Lawson, but you never know. We might try it. It's not like we need to like complicate it, right? He could come with us on the tour, and we could do a Lawson deal at the last moment, because it's easy to do, right? We don't have to like worry about the timing and stuff like that. So he could be on the tour. It's not a bad idea. Right now, what they're looking at is who should be on the tour, who should come with the team on the tour from in terms of the young players. And right now, obviously, we can talk about kind of. I don't think he can come to Malaysia. I think it's too soon to the end of the season, but I could be wrong. We could talk about because he's not a contract isn't agreed until July 1st, because he's a free agent, so he wouldn't be able to join then. It's a free agent deal, so he's still contracted to another club until July 1st. So I don't think he would be able to. So the American tour would be the only possibility there. Yeah, because we're not terminating his contract early. He's just joining July 1st. He'll become a United player. He's not actually a United player until July 1st from technical standpoint. Like the stream, yes, thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, so he could come in July. He could come on the tour in July. We don't know. I really don't know yet. I don't have an answer there, Issa. But yeah, with regards to Bendito, on Monday's live or Monday's video, maybe it was Tuesday. I don't remember, because I've done so many things this week. I said that we would have something this week that would allow him to finally get into the team, that it would be resolved, and it is. And so on Bendito, he's been added to the B list. So that means he's eligible actually to be in the squad for Europa League tonight. He could be in it since we have so many subs. Alongside him, it's Cheeto, it's Kone, it's Amos, and it's Fredrickson, right? Those are the five. Bendito, Fredrickson, Cheeto, Amos, and Kone are the five young players that have gone with the squad, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them not eligible for tonight, but hey, Sully, good to see you, my friend. Thanks, buddy. Good work on that. I don't know why his debut was delayed in specific, but there was, like I said before, it was not for football reasons. It wasn't like, oh, we don't rate him, he's not ready. They really rate him very highly. There was just something holding the deal up, holding things up, where he it was just said it was like an administrative matter. Whatever it is, it's administrative matter, but it's resolved now. And he's been added to the B side, the B team for Europa League. This is a great account, by the way, just in case. He said this today here. This JB8521 does a lot of good work on the youth side of things. And he put this in this morning. Obviously, we know he traveled and all of that. And then, as Fabrizio said today as well, he's going to, what did he say in specific? Let me just pull it up here. He's traveled with United squad, and then he will sign his pro deal. So obviously that's that's happening finally now. Immediately following, he will sign his pro deal. So he is going to sign now. Finally, he is somebody who's really, really good, really rated, and again, in very relevant to this discussion when we're sitting here talking about fullbacks and wingbacks, and he's like the perfect fit. I don't think he'll play Mantato tonight. There's no chance about that. But he probably will play on Sunday. That's kind of the idea, right? As they said, to get these young players training on Friday. They're going to train in Spain and then come back, and that way they'll be ready to play on Sunday. We're obviously going to heavily rotate. So, oh, and Kamasan was the other one too that traveled, didn't he? So I think it's going to be, I think we have a really good shot of seeing like Kamasan and Mantato and, all of these players like in that team, whether they're starting or coming off of the bench. I think obviously guys like Fredrickson, Amos, and, and Cheeto will probably start on Sunday as they've made starts. Maybe Kone, Kamasan, and Mantato, maybe they start, maybe they get bench appearances. Ahmad and Delict, they need to get some minutes, but some players will want to keep their legs fresh where they'll get 50, 60 minutes. Some we won't, some we can risk more. So it's going to be a very interesting day on Sunday for that, for sure. A very, very interesting day on Sunday for that. So I think that I'm really looking forward to that, for sure. And that's really exciting for the future because these are players that can solve some of these other problems and really help us, in the long term for the team and the club. So yeah, that's what we've got there. Predictions for tonight. I don't want to make predictions. Am I nervous? I'm a little bit, but I felt pretty. Like I said, here we can kind of discuss it for a minute here. One of the weird things about United this season, right, is if you look at our results in big away games, outside of St. James Park, which was again a little bit of a weird game that we were obviously like just kind of not focused on and even the selection, was kind of made that clear as well. I feel like we've done quite well in big away games. If you look at our schedule, like look at the big away games. We went into Lyon, we should have won that handily if not for the goalkeeper errors, right? We hold on. We the game at Forest we also should have won, but I wouldn't call that a big away game, right? We went down to Sociedad, also should have won. The first leg, the officiating was a bit rough there. The only team we've actually struggled with away is Tottenham in terms of like big games, But if you go back, like we went down to Fulham and won, we went down to Arsenal in the FA Cup and we won. We went into Anfield and I think it was our best game of the season. We went into where are they? City, and we won as well. Like we've actually done pretty well, specifically under Ruben Amorim away. Really, since the City game, in the big games away, we've actually done quite well. And we kind of maybe he said it before, but it's almost like the team is a little more nervous at home because the fans get on their back so easily, and there's been a lot of negativity that I almost think that they. Now, obviously, we had an incredible comeback against Lyon at home too. I'm not saying we're not going to be good at home, but I do, for whatever reason, feel like they can handle the atmospheres away fine. They don't mind the hostile atmosphere. They don't mind being the the underdogs. It's like they're a little less nervous and a little more fight when we play in these big games away. And we don't, for whatever reason, it just makes me feel decent. And then in the second leg, if we've got Ahmad and Delict fully back, then I'm pretty happy about it. I think we're going to do okay there. 11 Anfield of performance today, Bilbao. Yeah, they don't score many. Yeah, so it'll probably be a fairly tight game one way or another. Again, the biggest advantage I think we have is size. Let's go. Morning, James. Late to party, but happy to be here. Yes, good to see you. A couple little things, and then I want to move on to talk about Jonathan Todd. These are just some random things that I've been working on. I've been working with a company on a way to build like a way for us to play some games like as a community, like when you watch here or on Big Up for the watch alongs on something to like earn points. and stuff like that, and then play games and do contests and stuff like that, which I think would be kind of cool. Just like games and things for the community and stuff like that still being built. Um, and I'm working with a company on it now. Right now, the part that they actually have live is a betting feature, and I don't really bet myself, but a lot of people do. But they're building out like a thing that's available that I want to have for the community to like play games and stuff. That's all, it doesn't require money or anything like that. But right now they do have a betting feature. So I'm noting that because, when this thing gets added, then and we have this, they also have that. Um, but I'm looking to build something out and something like that. I'd win it all, so just crown me already. Well, that's kind of the fun, is like I want to have something with like community leaderboards, and like we can make like predictions and points bets and things between us all and stuff like that. And I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it would add to the watch alongs and stuff too, to make it more enjoyable. Like we've been talking about, like how many Travellas and things like that. Let's bet 1,000 as a community for today's game. Yeah, go for it, right? There is a link below there to that, but like I said, the only thing that's live right now is the betting thing. If you want to do that, fine. I'm not going to tell people to bet, but if you want to do that, that's fine. But they're building this out for me. Obviously, companies have to make their money, but they are building this cool thing for me that is separate to that, really, as a community. But yeah, so I'm kind of excited about that. And if you are a betting person, you do your thing however you want to do it. There's another link below in addition to that one, and that is I'm right now you'll look at it and you can go look, and it's pretty funny. But I'm putting together some basic merchandise designs and things like that to start. It's something people have been asking for a long time, that I don't know how many people want to buy merchandise and stuff like that, but everybody but everybody does it. Every community has it, and so we might as well. So I'm working on some more creative designs than simply just like the logos on a sweater and things like that, or a hat, but they're all there. And if you do want to buy merchandise, then it's actually live now and you can go check it out. But I'm definitely open to, as well, I wanted to talk with people in the community and find out what kind of things that they like. What kind of things would you want out of merchandise if you were going to buy something? Like, what kind of designs do you think fit the community? What kind of fun things we can make? So there's a link there below to the store that's actually set up now, where you can buy Muppeteers merchandise. I made one, Bruno at the 10. I was gonna do things like, like you did things like, Ugarte Defense League and things like that. I thought would be pretty funny. There's an ATC, an air traffic control one that I made there. There's Make United Great Again in black, which I really like the idea of. I think it'll be pretty hilarious to wear. I've actually ordered a sample of that one, so I'm gonna have that, and I'm gonna bring it on a screen on one of the streams here once it arrives as well. But yeah, there's some pretty good ones in there, I think. Yeah, I want to make more. Me and my hood will not be buying any Ugarte merch. That's fine. Why not go for Aussie design? Obviously little stuff too, like stickers, things like that, mugs, color changing mug, these kinds of things. So yeah, just trying to do more. It's been like years of people asking for shit like that I've not actually done it. And so I couldn't sleep last night, and I wasn't like just doing it last night, but I finally put it actually up so that it can be seen, and now I can improve upon it and add to it and all of that. So yeah, go check out those 2 links in the description below. And so some cool things coming. In terms of games and things for the community. For now, they just have their betting thing live, so you can win some money, but and then merchandise and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about the games. A mustache related tee. I would do like like SEG hate club, stuff like that. Anti SEG, anti SEG United Club, something like that, kind of like the antisocial shirts. I got some ideas, but I need to add some more, for sure. I want to add some more. I want to get creative ideas to write down. SEG, yeah, the agency that Ten Hag is from. uh, Me and my hood will be buying anti-SEG merch. Anti-SEG, no, anti. Good lord. Good lord. Don't need progression in the midfield. There's one, the one I like. Hold on, maybe I'll pull it up just, and then I'll talk about Ta, because I want to talk about Jonathan Ta, and the link to him. Glinios, yeah, we could do that. We could do Glinios fan, Trawlers FC. You know, we could do stuff like that. I thought this one's pretty funny. Hold on, I'm just gonna pull it up here really quick. Again, I like this one. I made it not red because I thought I don't want anybody being mistaken for actually wearing a Trump hat these days. It may be dangerous for you in certain parts of the world to do that. But yeah, stuff like that would be fun. Senior football directors. Oh, cool. Let me pull this up from Laurie Whitwell over at The Athletic as more senior departures go. Oh, okay. These are expected. These are more people. Again, departures and Lenny fucking Yora would be good, but I'm not actually sure if I can use his name. Do I like Trump? No, I don't like Trump. I don't like fucking politics, but I do like co-opting things, right? I hate politics, but I love co-opting things. So I feel like taking the MAGA hat and just making a United Great Again one as a somewhat of a mockery of it is funny. I think that's a good one. Green and gold till Garnacho is sold. No, I'm not gonna do hate on our players on merchandise and things like that. Do you reckon Phil wears the MAGA hat given he despises it? Probably would. Probably would. Can I don't know if I can do things like putting people's names like Lenny Yoro and stuff on stuff. So yeah, Laurie's just announced here 2 more departures, and again, Director of Football Operations and Director of Football Insights and Innovation. So again, more people that have been here since before, and so it is, you know. These were people who oversaw everything again in the previous regime, so it's just more getting rid of everybody. It's just more getting rid of everybody who's been in the senior team. Now, these were not so many names that we didn't know, but really, we're leaving like practically nobody left. But at the same time, we are hiring. We saw this before. Michael Sansoni from Mercedes coming in as into the data team. We kind of knew that was happening. So we're not necessarily just yeah, I thought so, Jimbo. I don't want to put people's names. I didn't think I could do stuff like that. I thought they would not like that at all. I don't want to get in trouble with United. I probably wouldn't put anybody's name on anything. We did have that Pastor Fred thing. People were selling that mug for a while. I don't think they got in any trouble for selling that mug. You know, the Pastor Fred one, which I thought was pretty cool. Because it's like it's I think there's fair use laws, like if you do it like in not a mockery, what's the word, there's a different word, but there's fair use laws in that you can use things in media and things like that, so long as they're like a significant enough obvious departure from the real thing. So we're hiring, so we're not just sacking now at the high level, we are hiring. Green and gold MAGA hat. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yellow and green make United Great Again hat. I could probably do that. Director of Football Insights and Innovations is a fake title, I swear. Well, he wasn't driving much by way of insights and innovations, was he? Not anyway. So yeah, and then we're hiring more people. Dan Nickel as a consultant, computer science, yada yada. He tried to buy Everton. Oh, he worked with 777. Hopefully not too closely. Hopefully not too closely. Hopefully I didn't work too closely with 777. But anyway, so at the top level, we're making hires and fires and things like that. So, um, yeah, so that's cool. We're letting a lot of people go, but we're rehiring at the executive levels. Was watching Gil interview. One interesting thing he said is after so many firings and hiring, the DNA goes to the club. And you're right. However, the point I would somewhat counteract that um, is that um, uh, the way that I would counteract that is the DNA was already gone, right? A lot of it left with Sir Alex. I don't particularly believe there was any DNA left under the Glazers. It was fake. It was shallow. You know what I mean? It was like it was a thinly veiled veneer of DNA that was just bullshit. And they kept trying to do it with keeping some random people involved and things like that. But the DNA of the club was already gone. I mean, how many years did we hear culture is dead? All of that stuff. That's why I've never bought this stuff about letting people go has been destructive to the club, because I remember the stories from the last 10 years about how the club's DNA has been ripped out heart and soul and and everything by the Glazers, and nothing's left, and it's a shallow shell of what it used to be, and blah 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 blah, right? Which was all true. So now we're ripping out the fake DNA that has been there in the in between and putting in something new. Is it going to be the same as what United used to be? No, of course it never can be. United can never be what it was before, right? It just cannot. It can never be what it was before. You know what I mean? Um, it can never be what it was in the past. But it can be something new. It can be something different. But the soul, yeah, rip it up and start again. Exactly. The soul's been gone for a long, long time. Let's be real. It's been dead. But let's we have to put new DNA in. We have to. And so it makes sense to rip it all up from top to bottom and start over. Now they have to get it right on the implementation of new people. That's always the test. That's what's going to stand the test of time. What I like is it's qualified professionals being put in place. Whether they work out, we don't yet know. We can't, and I'm not going to make assumptions that everything's going to be great and everybody's going to be great. But what we do know is that it's um, different people, and they're qualified, and they're the right people. And it wasn't just like, oh, we knew Murtaugh, so we hired him and got him in as the first director of football, and then hired all the people he knew. We're like, we are getting successful, qualified people. Youth courage success. And I like that. But you know what was sad, Naveen? You know what was really, really sad about that? Is it was such a satire. Yeah, thank you, Vedant. That was the word, satire and commentary. You know what was sad, Naveen, is that youth courage success thing was like one of this exact point on this DNA. It was so fake. It was just marketing. It lasted one summer. We used it for these posts, and then they just killed it. And then we didn't buy, and we started buying 31-year-olds on 400,000 a week. Youth courage success, and then we bought Varane and Ronaldo and Casemiro. Like, what happened to youth courage success? We started promoting nobody. We didn't buy young players anymore. Like, we just completely, it was bullshit, right? It was a veneer, but we all hoped it would be a good thing. Youth courage success. Yeah, it could be like youth courage success asterisk, unless, you know, um, it's the DNA of the fail club that was there. Yeah. So but that's the frustrating part, is it's stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like fake stuff like that is super annoying. Um, so yeah, it is what it is. Everton would have been relegated to yeah, 777 did some really shady stuff in terms of what was it, like just a lot of their financial stuff was really weird, and the guy who owned it was like arrested or something for fraud and things like that. Ronaldo in one window, Rooney in another. We used to get those types of guys, right? These just incredible players who are young and the best talents, and I'd like to see us keep doing that. It looks kind of like we're more doing that now, Yoro and Dugarte, or Dorgu's who I meant, who's young, like very young as well. Some of these young guys we're getting, it looks like we're doing that. Yeah, they were a shell game, Smokey, right? Just moving shit around, like take a loan from here to pay off here to pay off here to pay off here, and then hope you get into it in order to hope you get there so that you can somehow start making money. You know what it reminded me of is the inventing Anna shows. You guys see that one a while back? Um, um, I used to make jokes about Sheikh Jassim and inventing Anna, but a similar type of concept of like just keep pretending you have money and like trying to get loans and purchases and everything, like almost identically, where there's actually no money there, right? It's the same thing. It was the same thing from that show, which is a real story, right? Where she is trying to take out all these things and then is trying to like buy this big business. Inventing Justine, that would be a shirt. Inventing, yeah. I don't think I can do that. But like taking out all these things and then trying to buy this business with fake qualifications and fake money and all of that. Should have made the Make United. I can add. I'll write it down. I'll write it down. Yeah. And look, guys, it's not going to be like insane quality and stuff because that's how it is. I don't have like a shop of like merchandise to keep on hand. If people are interested in it and it's something that people like, then obviously I look to figuring out how to source it a little bit better and keep inventory and ship it and stuff like that. But for now, this is what it is. But yeah, I want to add. I think my idea here is get feedback, add like the things people want. The things that people want and that people would actually buy and people like, and then narrow the number of things that are there that end up being our things, and then I could include improve quality and do bulk orders and stuff like that, and all of that. But I don't know. I'm inexperienced in this area, but I think it'd be fun either way. Black matches with more. Well, that was the other thing, right? It was easier to fit black into a lot of stuff. Yeah, it was easier to fit everything in black. Okay, so Jonathan Taw. Sorry, we got super sidetracked by a bunch of stuff here. Ruben's face on a Ruben. What the fuck is that? We got super sidetracked because we got sidetracked in talking about the Laurie Whitwell thing with the changes to staff. Yeah, and everything. So somebody said there was something about that Craig Hope had said something about from the Daily Mail about Newcastle. Obviously, it's a good source for Newcastle is Craig Hope. He's very, very good for them actually. Maybe it was in like a confidential thing. All the mail things are now paid, so I can't actually go see it. But you said something. What it said that they were going to miss out because we're offering more wages. That's very convenient. Very convenient. I mean, I don't know what kind of wages Newcastle had, but as far as I'm aware, they don't have much by way of money, do they? I mean, I think they'll help getting Champions League, but they don't have much by way of money. Right? Newcastle, I thought are struggling a little bit. To pay. Yeah, definitely. It is a bit biased, as it were from Newcastle sources. It's obviously it's often like that. Yeah, Newcastle could get him if we miss out on Champions League, which is funny because we are already missing out on Champions League and the deal has progressed super far forward and he doesn't particularly care about that. I mean, we've already had it reported, right? Many times that he doesn't care about that. We've already had it reported that he's already said he wants to join United, and it's not really a factor. So I'd be extremely surprised. What's the latest? Nothing new. I mean, as far as everybody's heard around it and involved, it's at a very advanced stage, and I just imagine that nothing really is going to happen on it reporting wise until at least through this European round, if not to the end of the season. So there's not much else to say. on Jonathan Tah. So this is a link that came up now. I'm going to go back to our transfer chart. I'm not going to show it. But if you go back to our transfer chart from last year, the much maligned transfer chart, it's yet another name on our transfer chart that now we're solidly linked with, because the transfer chart had a lot of good names on it. It's just that United never actually end up signing who they are looking at in the market, or at least in previous windows they never did. But Ta would make the fifth center back on that list of targets we had last summer that we now been reliably linked with. So obviously it was a good list. We actually bought one of them, to be fair. We did buy Lenny Yoro, who was on the chart, but we tried for Todibo, got banned. We tried for Braithwaite, got banned. We tried for Tosin, and he went to Chelsea. And now Jonathan Tah is another one. Now, Jonathan Tah, obviously, he plays in a 3-back system right now in Germany. His strengths are his progression. He's good in the air. He's big, and his strengths are his passing and all of that. So he obviously makes a lot of sense for this as a center back, but I'm not so sure he does make sense at the same time, because he's usually the central center back, and I would suggest that that's where we have enough players, and where if we're going to get a center back, we probably need somebody on the left rather than on the right. You know, but we don't need another central center back. We will when Maguire leaves, and Ta would make a nice Maguire replacement. Frankly, he would make pretty much a perfect Maguire replacement, right? But I can't see why we do that this summer. I can see adding a veteran at center back for later, but it's a similar thing for Maguire, right? But Maguire will be here, as far as we know, another season. But he is a free agent, isn't he? So if you have the opportunity to get him in, fair enough. You can replace Maguire a year early on the cheap. And that kind of makes sense. Ta at central center back and move Maguire to striker. Chris, now you're thinking. Stuart, how come Heaven not back yet? So he re-aggravated his ankle, unfortunately. I think he will be back somewhat soon, but he did re-aggravate it in training, unfortunately. Will Ta come to play behind Maguire and De Ligt? You've noticed Yoro's best performances have come at left center back so far. And some of that could just be because we need it. Give me 1 second. I'm just checking if someone's at my door. Hold on. I was expecting a delivery, and I just thought I heard a knock, but no, not yet. Yeah, I mean, Ta would be okay. Yeah, Jasim heard me talking about the shirt. No, Ta would be okay. But as a free player. But then again, yeah, he would be okay as a free player. I don't know. I guess I would take it, but I'm not like crazy, sold on it. If you wanted big wages and things, then that wouldn't be all too exciting. But he would fit. It's hard to know the ground duel numbers. It's a little confusing because they look really poor. But he is a good player. So I think we are still in somewhat the market for a center back. I thought it'd be maybe more of a young, wide one, but I do think either way, whoever we go in the market for, we don't want to pay a big wage to. And I think Ta would fit pretty well. It's a good idea, especially if Harry's going to depart in the near future, because he really does replace Maguire in that respect. So I do like the idea. I do get it. I do get it. I guess I should say I do get the idea. I am a fan in that respect. We have 2 central center backs, Maguire and De Ligt. Yeah, it's just if he's free now and we can get him and replace Maguire ahead of time, then it makes sense, doesn't it? What happens if we compare them on here? I just curious how it looks. Yeah, I mean, statistically, he shows up a lot better, obviously. Well, Maguire's one of those funny players where, like, his numbers never show up that good, but he is. His passing numbers are better, you know, but De Ligt is kind of the same. Obviously, in the German league, Ta for Leverkusen, different type of league, different type of style. They do a lot more passing. I mean, a lot more passing. Yeah, and then again, Maguire and De Ligt are both a little bit injury prone, so it might make sense to me. The more I've thought about it, the more I think it kind of adds up. You know, just depending on the wages. Just depending on the wages. What wages do we pay? I mean, we're not going to pay 250 or something like that, but if we're going to go 100, 120, then that's great. West Ham's top target for striker is Samu from Porto. That's a good player. That's a good player for them. Is it just layoffs or replacing people not fit for purpose? So it's definitely both. Definitely both. Definitely both. We need a left center back before a center back. Agreed. I do agree there, but at the same time, you know, we could push Lenny to the left, you know, De Ligt to the right, and have Maguire and Ta for the center. Like, that's a possibility as well. So there's a few different ways that this could work. What else? I take Sam. Sam was a really good striker. But that being said, Anthony, great work this week. James' video has been great. How to become a member to support you? Well, thank you for the donation, first of all. If you're on mobile, you can't, I think. I don't think there's a way to add yourself as a member on mobile. But you have to do it on desktop. But yeah, you can do that. You can join when you're on desktop. You can join the Patreon, or you can buy merchandise now, and that way you get something back from giving me money. United not, but either way of those, either way, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really did appreciate that. United might not want to spend on CB, so Ta on a free makes sense. Spend money elsewhere. Yeah, I would agree. It does make sense, because we've wanted a center back, but it's one of those things we kind of push down the list a little bit, and we kind of just need depth there, because we have some good young center backs coming through. And the similar thing with like a goalkeeper, you know, you did it on mobile. People are telling me they can't do it on mobile. Maybe certain devices can and certain can't, Stuart. I'm not sure, but people are saying they couldn't see how to do it on mobile, but there might be a button to join as member. Yeah, so similar to like a goalkeeper, if there was an opportunity like Ta, I think we would snap it up, you know. That being said, Tom Heaton, he's getting a new contract, is he not? To stay as another year as our homegrown goalkeeper king to stay. You can do it on Android. Okay. Oblak. I mean, what? Szczesny came out of retirement, right? Didn't he? For Barcelona, is that correct? Do I have that right? You know, can somebody come do that for us? Can somebody could come out of retirement and come join us? No, it's all good. Tom Heaton's staying. So yeah, last thing obviously we would want to discuss is to get to Bilbao, obviously. The lineup will be out in like an hour and 15 minutes. At one point I thought, am I going to go live this morning and sit here with everybody until the lineup is out and everything and just kind of chill and hang out? I don't think I want to do that. But I thought about it for a minute, but I don't know if I have another hour and 15 minutes left. Issa, can I get unbanned on Discord? Man, I swear the last time I looked into why you got banned, it was absolutely fucking heinous. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's possible. I'm not sure that I can do that. Man, but give me your username again. And I will look at it one more time because I cannot remember. But you asked me this months ago, and I looked into it and I was like, there's ones I can get away with, and there's ones that I can't. And I felt like it was the one that I could not get away with is unbanning you there. I'm softer than the people I have moderating the Discord, but I don't want to unban people for for truly, truly heinous activity. Why is it whenever someone gets banned for crazy shit, 50's always there? Well, he's a baiter, right? You know, 50's always stirring up trouble in the channels. He's always stirring up weird shit. Subscribe and buy merch to get unbanned. I don't. You can't pay to be unbanned. I can't do that. It doesn't really work that way. I've had to ban plenty of people from the Patreon. Which is, by the way, again, the easiest and best way to support because the channels and the stuff in there is the best way to do it. Was it most heinous, most non-triumphant? Yeah, probably. And it was not about getting Tenag back. I have banned some other people though that were just abusing me. Buy a mugga hat to get unbanned. It was a drama alert link. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that, or was that like the final straw after all of the crazy like could you talk about what you've seen from Athletic tactically? Well, they're very like they're a smaller, quicker, aggressive passing team. So I'm trying to think of what the comparison would be. But they defend really well, but they also press well. But they are small. Like I'm trying to think what would be it's a bunch. All right, I will check after the stream, but I'm not going to promise you anything, my dude. I'm trying to think of a good comparison to a team in the Premier League. I like to do. They don't score that much. No, they really don't score that much, but they defend really well. They're very quick, but not big. They are probably a bit similar to Bournemouth. Yeah, I mean, that is actually a pretty apt comparison. And I thought we did quite well against Bournemouth. You know, I thought we did quite well against Bournemouth. I really do. I think, obviously, we could have done a lot better. The performance was off individually, like a lot of missed passes and things. But even in general, we did well. You know, like we still should have won. We still should have taken our chances. And you know, I'm not saying we did great as a as an individuals, a lot of bad performances, but I kind of excuse that a little bit because of the situation. But yeah, I mean, Valverde's a very tough defensive coach as well. Maybe kind of like, no, I wouldn't say like Aston Villa, but maybe like some Emery sides. You know, some Unai sides might be like that, like where not the present one necessarily of Aston Villa, but where they really defended strong and very robustly, don't necessarily score altogether that much, but are really kind of tough to beat. So it depends. But yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a tough game, but I don't know. I still have this impression, which we're gonna find out today, aren't we? We're gonna find out today whether this is true or not. I still have this impression that we just do well against these teams from other leagues, and that we're still better off than a lot of those guys. That we just are. I just have this impression. I could be totally wrong. Obviously yesterday I was kind of joking around on Twitter, and I said like Spanish clubs are washed and then Italian clubs are washed, and I was just kind of having fun with it. But I think that I don't know, man. There's something that's just off to me. the closer we get, the more I get a little bit of nervous. But it's more like I have not yet seen much from, like, I've not in yeah, and then Barcelona got to. I've not actually seen much from these clubs outside of, like, I'm not talking about Barcelona. Um, it's just I've just not seen much from these clubs. Like, I've watched them in Europe, and I don't think they're very good. They were really poor against Rangers. They've recently been up against teams with red cards and stuff. They can't score goals, and neither can we. But I think we're okay against teams that can't score goals. um, I don't know. I'm just not impressed with a lot of these teams when I watch them. I'm just not impressed with them. I don't know why, but I'm just not. And it's because football is so odd. I may have an overinflated opinion of the Premier League. I totally might. But the way I feel is this. I think that between, like, literally 5th and 17th, most Premier League clubs are better than everyone outside the top 2 or 3 in the other leagues. That's what I think. I genuinely feel that way. Like, outside of, Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico, I feel like most Premier League clubs could be competing for top 4. Like, almost all of them. The evidence of that, too, by the way, is that Tottenham are also in the semifinals of the Europa League, who are below us in the table, right? I feel like a lot of these leagues really, really aren't that good outside of the top 2. I think they're really, really poor, and there is evidence to back that up, right? There is evidence to back up that, like, the top of these leagues is usually quite high, but once you get beyond the big clubs, the rest of the Premier League is better than almost all of them. And I don't think that's particularly a hot take. Now, we've lost to those clubs before, but I feel as though football on average has gotten worse in around Europe. And it's just, I don't know. Outside of the top levels, I do feel that it's worse. The drop off, the drop off after the few top teams in other leagues is really, really rough. It's really, really big. It's a huge, huge drop off. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not sure. We are the unbeaten team. Yeah. If it was the other way around, right, exactly. I mean, if we were like in 5th, we've been here before, right? If we were in 5th or something like that in the Europa League, competing against a team that was undefeated in Europe, that was so good, like when we would face against, like, Sevilla, you know what I mean? And we get knocked out, we're like, oh my God, Sevilla, they're so good in Europe. And we would be scared. Well, we're the team that's now so good in Europe. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. Was it La Liga complain about the Premier League? Yeah, I believe so. If we don't, yeah, I would be happy with a draw. I'd be happy with a draw tonight. I would take a draw. 1 goal down, I think obviously we can come back from, but I would take a draw. I mean, Ugarte said in the interview yesterday that about Europe. He said the physicality was a big factor, that the teams just aren't that physical in Europe by comparison to the Premier League, where we struggle. And it's true. I mean, we get run over. We get run over by very physical teams in the Premier League, but when we face teams in Europe, we just don't get run over. We saw how we've been getting through. I mean, I know, but the thing about it is it's still us throwing it away. Like Lyon, we threw away a minimum of 2 goals in the first leg from Onana, and we threw away. What else did we throw away? We threw away. We threw away the 3rd goal at 2-0. So we threw away. We literally just threw 3 goals out the window. It should have been a 5-0. Like, if you think about it, really, even in the first leg, I think we threw away another goal. We quite literally could have been 6-0 up on aggregate to Lyon. You realize that? Like, when you really think about it, we probably should have been 6-0 up to Lyon at one point. When you look at that performance, like, it was there. You know, so I don't know. I just I don't have the same feeling. I have a good feeling. I have a better feeling. I have a more there's just a different feeling about all of it that happens. So we'll see, though. Obviously, it's just yeah. I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be like dismissive. I just have a feeling we'll be okay. They scored 2 at 10 minutes. I hear that, Andy, but that's not like it was the performance at the end of the game. But you got to realize something for a minute. You're judging the game off of a 20-minute. You're judging 210 minutes of football off of a 20-minute stretch when we were bad, and saying we got outplayed. Like, do you not see it's a slight bit of confirmation bias there? We got outplayed for 20 minutes and conceded a bunch of goals. That's 20 out of 210 minutes over the course of that. So we weren't, it's not like we have that in us, though. That's the issue. We have that in us to throw it away. That's 10% of the game they outplayed us. The issue is that 10% was so bad, that we just have it in us to throw things away. That's why I said it's us throwing it away. That's how I feel. That's why I'm not saying we'll do it for sure, but I do feel like it's always us that throw it away. It wasn't like Lyon did something insane in the first leg. We literally threw it away, 2 goals, and missed our chances and all of that. Jimmy, you can't go to Bilbao because of the surgery, right? Well, at least you'd be healthy. I don't think we were outplayed for more than 20 minutes. I don't even think we were outplayed from 45 minutes to 70 minutes, because we still had good chances to score more than they did while we were defending. We still had better ones, It was a defensive performance in the second half, and we should have scored a couple of goals. So a different type of performance, but I don't think we were outplayed. We just missed our chances and fell apart. I mean, even at the end of the Lyon leg, the away leg, Garnacho had that 3-on-1 with Xerxes and screwed it up. Like, we had so many more goals in us. You're not allowed to fly, and your brother said he's taking a ticket out. Sorry to hear that, though. But sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, it's like we threw away so much up until that point in time, but we do that, and that's my biggest concern, is we don't throw it away. I still think we win if we don't throw it away. It's in our hands more than the opposition's, and I think that's fair. We can't do that. We can't throw it out. We can't throw it out the window. We just can't. That's what we cannot do. Because now I don't think we'll be punished in the same way, because they're not a good offensive team is Bilbao. So it actually gives us a slightly more margin for error. Like, Bilbao are never scoring 4 goals in 20 minutes like Lyon. Lyon actually score goals, right? Bilbao are never doing that. So the margin for error is a little bit, maybe even larger. Like, I don't think we'll be punished as easily, but the margin for error on us taking our chances is even smaller, right? Like, I don't think we're going to get beat up. If we lose, it'll be like fucking nut hair, because we didn't take our chances, basically. That's the way I see it. Sorry, my thing crashed. I didn't know if the stream did. I know. Look, I don't feel that way about most of the time when we play in the Premier League. I don't feel that way, but I've had this good feeling about Europe at times, and so far it's been decent. And then there's another factor, though, Issa. I do want to talk about that, the refereeing. One of the things that helped us in the Lyon and Sociedad tie is that we actually had semi-fair refereeing. The first leg of Sociedad, I remind you, we got screwed by that penalty that was not a penalty. In the second leg, we even got screwed by a penalty that was not a penalty, but then they gave us 3 penalties after that, right? Or 2 penalties or what have you, and a red card after that. So we actually got officiating, like a somewhat fair officiating in that game. And the same against Lyon. We got the call we needed for that penalty and stuff. Like, we were officiated fairly, and that allowed us to be a better side. One of the big problems we have in Europe often is it's officiated so unfairly. The Spanish clubs dive, and we can't play our game, and we lose our physical advantage. That's actually one of the biggest factors in why we struggle so much against Spanish clubs, is if the referee destroys our physical advantage, then we can't do shit. It hurts us a lot. It has a huge impact on the way we play football. And it really, because that is our advantage, is the physical side of it. We got big players. We're going to have to be able to win the ball in the air. We're going to have to be able to fight. We're going to have to be able to jump around on set pieces and not have someone dive every time we have a corner, you know? So that's how I feel about it, is that the refereeing is a big factor in all of this. If we get fair officiating, if we get fair refereeing that lets us be a bit more physical, then yeah, then it's you know. One second. Anyway, but yeah, let's see, what else? Is there anything else I wanted to say? I'm not going to give anything on the lineup away. You guys remember when we played in that Europa final? And the team was leaked ahead of time by that one lady. That was like, and I still honestly think that affected us in that game, that it was leaked so early. I still worry about that a little bit. Team's able to game plan, because we had some weird departures, right? Like, we weren't sure if Maguire would make it. We weren't sure if Fred would make it. We weren't sure, you know, and then they didn't, and it was leaked ahead of time, and it still bothers me. But no, I'm not going to say a damn word about the lineup. Isn't the lineup obvious? It's fairly obvious. I mean, we went over it yesterday, right? The 2 biggest questions I think that we have are at center back, the Villarreal one, yeah. Are at center back and Kobe Mainu, like whether he gets into the team or not. Like there's some really, really obvious starters. I'll pull it up in a second, kind of what we discussed yesterday. Because like there's a few questions, right? Like we've seen Casemiro Ugarte as a partnership in all these games recently that we've not been rotating in. We saw Dorgu and Mazraoui training as the fullbacks in training. They were the ones doing the drills together. We don't know if De Ligt is healthy, fully healthy, or not yet, if he's capable of starting. So those are the questions that we don't have the answers to as of yet, right? Those are the things we don't know. This is what we looked at. We said, hey, this is probably what it is. Oh, good call. Thank you, CJ. I'll talk about that in a minute. That news about that young kid. Yeah, I would talk about that in a second, because I actually do know something on that. Hoyland, you know what the question is can you get Kobe in here somewhere? And who for? We don't know. The other question is, do you do a surprise? Do you put, you know, Amos over there, Dorgu on the right, or Luke Shaw? But he can't start. He played 90 minutes, and he wasn't even cleared to play 90 on Sunday. So there's just no chance Luke Shaw's starting, right? You know, do you do that? You know, those are the questions we don't know. Is De Ligt fit enough to where he can play in the back line? and he can start. We don't know that. So it's like, who could Manu come in for if he does, and is De Ligt fit, or does Shaw or Amos start? We'll probably just question is just Amos. And I think it depends how we view the game, how Amorim views the game. I think Amorim did say that De Ligt was not fit to start. Yeah, that's why I've got Lindelof in there as well. We need pace at right center back. Well, I would swap Lenny Yoro over for this game because their right winger is not as much of a threat right now. And I would back up Mazraoui with Yoro. I would for sure. And if we have Ugarte on that side too, we can shut down their best attack over there between the three of them. I think they'll get that right. So yeah, there's a few questions that we have in the team now, unless there's some crazy surprises like Mason Mount. He decides this is finally a game for Mason Mount to play in and start. Maybe he does. Maybe it's finally time for Mason Mount to make his appearance. Yeah. Yeah, Yoro. I think Yoro will be fine. I think Yoro will be fine against Nico Williams, and he's played tougher players. Nico Williams, by the way, statistically, I just want to show you, like, he's kind of known as like this super tricky dribbler, but I had him on my list for the 10s, and I was a little surprised to find that even though he's got a lot of successful dribbles, hold on. I want to show you this. This actually was surprising to me. He's a bit of a waster. Like, if you take a look here, he's in the top. He's kind of like he has one of the worst success rates. He gets tackled a lot. He loses a lot on his dribbles. So he's purely a volume guy. He's going to try to take you on every single time, and he's going to lose them a lot. He's going to win some because he takes on so many, but he's going to lose a lot of them. His end product is poor. Like he's a little bit similar to Garnacho in that regard. He's better, but he is a little bit similar to Garnacho. He's a better shooter though. But yeah, he's a little similar to Garnacho in that respect. He's a good carrier. Nico hat-trick incoming. Fuck you guys. I'm just saying, when I looked into it, I was surprised at how poor his, and that's against defenders in Spain. I think he'll be somewhat similar. Watch him win all. Look, if he wins all of against Lenny Yoro, then fuck it. I mean, what else can you do? I don't think he will. I think Lenny Yoro's better than most of the center backs he's going to come up against. Every now and I know, and it's every now and then, that kind of thing. But yeah, something like this, and then if you can get Manu in. I never know what the hell you guys are going to react to, like just out of the blue. I'll just be saying shit. I'll just be having takes all the time, and then randomly you're like, oh, that's the thing. That's the one that has completely fucked us over. Cracks me up. Like, what am I allowed to say here? I'm trying to do some analysis. Okay, I'm trying to be smart. I'm trying to be intelligent here, and I'm just getting attacked for it. Just brutally attacked. So rude. So rude. Oh, sorry. The UEFA script writers are listening. Yeah. Color changing mug in a microwave still got me. I can't put in this. Listen. It's what, like $15? It's cheap, all right? It's cheap. It's a cheap mug. Let's be real. If people really like it, I'll source a more expensive mug. But what you're supposed to do is just pour stuff in it, drink it, rinse it out. Like you do with any mug. But if people like it, I will source better things, okay? With Terrace, it's a $50 mug. So I think that they're printed in different countries in a lot of cases, for depending on where they're being shipped to. just to avoid that kind of shit, right? That's usually the case with these types of things. I mean, that's the other challenge if I started to do the sell Liverpool ones that go blue. Like if I started to do them myself, is that I'd literally have to deal with like the cost of importing goods and stuff like that. I didn't get the microwave bit in the description. That is very much an American thing. I mean, it's just we heat stuff up in the microwave. And you know what's really weird? Okay, I'll tell you something like a really really weird misconception that Americans have about the British is that like most Americans don't think you guys use electric kettles. And that's why there's like a serious disconnect between Americans and the British on this, because British are like these fucking weirdos heating things up in the microwave. And you're totally right, by the way. You can always tell when a restaurant heats up like hot tea and stuff in the microwave, because of course it gets cool in like a minute. It doesn't stay hot. And there's other ways you can tell, and it's not great. But for some reason Americans think British people all do it with like they think kettle, and they think it's all old fashioned. You got to stick it on the stove, wait 35 minutes for it to heat up and boil, and then go, right? When all of you use electric kettles these days, I'm sure, to heat up water very fast. And it's just a hilarious misconception that I've seen so much, to where Americans are like, well, they think it's like microwaves or heated on the stove, you know? Like it's one or the other. It's a very American thing, right? Microwave or stove, and there's not like an in between. You have no idea how rarely I've ever seen an electric kettle in an American's house. Um, I'd never see an electric kettle in an American's house. It doesn't exist. Like I don't think they know they exist. I don't think Americans know electric kettles are a real thing. I don't think they do. They literally think you have to like boil it on the stove or use a microwave. So of course they use microwaves. Can't explain it. It's just one of those things. Electric kettles have never gotten the advertising, market space that they need. There's probably people who do. I'm just saying it is my perception, of people. Yeah, Enzo done. Yep. Yeah, Enzo done. We knew that. We had that from Sully and myself earlier. So we had that confirmed that Enzo Kana is in fact done. He is signed to United. Nuked T is rough living. It is. It's gross. And like it's so weird when you go to like a when you go to a like a what do you call it? Like you go to like a restaurant and you order like a hot drink, and it's like ugh, it's like you can tell when it's bad. But yeah. Had to use an old school kettle in an Airbnb recently, and it was quite. But yes, there's a tweet here from. Here, I'll pull it up. Hold on a second. Which is confirming what we know. In California, we're different. You're probably look. I obviously it's location dependent. I mean, I grew up between Chicago and Florida, and now here out in Colorado, and I can tell you that electric kettles are a rare business, out here. Let's see. So done deal. Enzo Kana has signed his contract with MUFC until 2030 plus option. United beat off competition. Phrasing from Chelsea, Monaco, and PSG. PSG in particular wanted him, as his two brothers play there in the academy, but he said yes to MUFC. Also Marseille, or he visited Marseille as well. A certain Brazilian next, hopefully. Who's this Brazilian he's talking about? Oh, Cunha, maybe. It's probably Cunha who he's talking about. But yeah, we beat off Chelsea, We beat off. Next the gorilla. No, don't. Chelsea falling. This is what they do, man. I told you, do not bring up my pronunciation of Marseille. Shh, Marseille. Do not bring up my pronunciation. Do not make me overthink everything. Um, I bet they go milk first too. No wonder you lot throw it in the rivers. I put milk first for coffee. I put the cream in first for coffee if I'm making it at home. I put the I put the cream in first, but I think that makes sense. It mixes a lot better in the coffee when you do it that way. Leon is worse. It's not Leon. I'm gonna keep saying it, Leon. I know it's Leon, and I know it's Ineos, but I just don't like that. That's not language to me. Bordeaux, Bordeaux, Bordeaux. Some French stuff is a little bit easier for some reason, but sometimes. I mean that's no stop. Hold on, no. No, I can't go there again. I'm not gonna be able to do my streams. What you, what? Oh no, I do know. I do know. It's just I cannot put too much attention on the way that I pronounce things, or I just completely get like stun locked over it. Um. So I just can't think about it. I'm proud of you, my team and club. All the best performance tonight. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Whatever it may be, we're gonna get behind the team and hope that for the best here, right? Whatever happens, we will be behind the team. Hmm. Yeah. So, whatever happens, we will fix it. We will. We will. We will fix it. We will hope that it all works out. Okay. What else? Anything else? Is Shaw fit? He's fit enough to exist. He's fit enough to exist. I mean, that's how fit can you be, you know? He's fit enough to exist, but not to play, you know? Um, he seemed leggy. Yeah, he's always. When's he not leggy? You know, I mean that's the issue, isn't it? When is he not leggy? Um, right. Let's see. Oh, Igor news. Good point. Good point. Thanks. Um, Igor news. So somebody said that basically that there was like an offer for him, right? And as far as I know, United have been interested in him, but not yet. but not yet. Yeah. So yeah, there's not necessarily actually an offer as of yet, but there will be, you know, at some point. Um, but it's not yet. It's just not. It's not there yet. Um, and they have not yet made, as far as I know, an official offer or anything like that. So we have to wait and see on that because they're not all in on that. Is Cunha in today's squad? No, but hopefully hopefully soon. Um What else did I want to talk about today? Maybe he's on the B list. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's fitting into there already. Sweet. Maybe he'll be the guy. All right, sorry, I was just distracted for a second here. How do they decide who goes to the Club World Cup? Isn't it like who finishes in certain positions and across the teams or something like that? I'm pretty sure it's fairly basic in terms of how it's qualified. Pretty sure it's fairly basic. It's like it's surprise Chelsea's in it. Well, it was what was the reason for that? I remember and now I forget because I remember looking it up at one point and then I can't remember. um they changed it recently, right? Didn't they? Look at the goals of the team. I'd say they're shaking. You think Cunha will be in the stands? No. Cunha's obviously not going to be anywhere near us. I mean, let's be real, guys. Like, he's not going to be anywhere near us at this point in time. He's going to be, yeah, I mean, just looking to see if anything's come out here on the team. Barcelona wants Rashford but doesn't want to pay. Typical. Yeah, I mean that's pretty normal. Well, Cunha pulling Odemwingie. Jack Falca had the whole family. So I don't want to get into any of that. Honestly, I don't like it. Like the whole thing, it's all just Nah, it's all just stupid drama. Um, it's all just stupid drama, you know. Pointless stuff for now. Stuff not worth getting into, stuff not worth mentioning. I don't like it. It's all like, I don't know. I think it's very very silly, all of the kind of like arguings and things over stuff like that's just, you know, um what it's football opinions. It's I like this player, I don't like that player. I mean, who cares, you know? Honestly, like, it's all just an opinion. I don't know. It's unnecessary for all of that to get in there. You know, it's unnecessary, I guess I should say, for to be that, to be all of that such a, like, a thing. You know, like, why is it such a big deal? I don't get it. Um, we all have different opinions on things, and you know, the only times that there's just no reason for all of that, like, so much like upset over this. Like, we all have very much different opinions on things, and you know, we're none of us are in any position to influence it anyway. um I mean, the death threats, it's so fun. It's like, you know, like that. It was all. It's nobody's fault. You know, any of the things that happen, nobody's gonna make the club make a signing. Nobody's gonna make the club do this. Nobody's gonna make the club do that. Nobody's gonna do any of those things. You know, um, but so what? Um, you know, so who cares? You know, if we all have different views on players that we like and dislike. I mean, it's all fun discussion. Sir Jim is listening to you, though. I doubt it has anything to do with players. I mean, there's just factual stuff when it comes to, like, you know, the finances and understanding of different things that I would gather, have, you know, that there's people monitoring and looking at these types of things. But you know, I guarantee you, nobody is signing players off of, nobody is saying signing players off of fucking, what do you call it, off of Twitter. You know, well, maybe in the past. I mean, that's the scary part, right? Is like, when this was true, you know, it was probably like, when this was actually true, it was probably during the Glazers, and you know, during a time when, um you know, um when they were probably, like, quite literally looking at this kind of stuff. That's the scary part about it, is like, there's probably a time when they actually did listen, to that kind of stuff, but not anymore. Hopefully, I mean, not anymore. That would be pretty bad, in my opinion. I sure hope not. Um, yeah, I sure hope not. Anyway, yeah, I promise. It's very chic to hate on Ugarte at the moment. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not a fan of that because, what the hell's the point? Because it's so new. I mean, why do we have to dislike a player that much? Um, and just simply because, again, I think it's just over the basis of not fitting with what they want, you know. But still, just an opinion. If someone doesn't like a player, someone doesn't like a player. That's cool. It's all good. It's all good. But I don't know why we have to be so, like, tribal about it. You still believe Liam Delap is a ruse, so Chelsea sign him so we can go for other targets? Maybe. I don't think so, to be honest. But it could work. um, it could work. It could. You never know. Could end up happening that way. His wage demands are far too high. What are they? I haven't even, like, I haven't even heard. Like, what actually are they even? You know. I haven't actually heard anything about his wages, which was confusing to me. Score will be 1-5 today. Good Lord. 120, 140, 120, 150, 1-5. Two extremely low scoring teams, and it's on 1-5. That's quite a prediction, Moran. A 2-hour stream. Well, I know I wasn't gonna, and now I'm gonna have to sit for 25 more minutes because the team's gonna come out in 25 minutes. I'm not gonna go off and then come back. So we're just gonna hang out for 25 more minutes, I guess. 120 would be okay. I think 120 is pretty fair. Is it true that Mourinho insisted on signing Lindelof over Van Dijk? I honestly don't know. I honestly can't tell you whether that is or isn't true. I really, really cannot tell you whether it is or isn't. Because, like, I didn't have any insight into some of those points in time, you know? Signed and sealed. Yeah, so the Enzo deal is done. Fabrizio giving us a little tap towards that as well. Four minutes. Garnacho strikes a 1v1 chance into the box. Oh, skies. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, fair. No, I don't want to be negative. I'm no negativity towards anybody involved right now. Anybody playing tonight. No negativity. Because what the hell, you know? What's the point? Let's just whoever plays, whoever starts, whoever's in the team, we'll back them. We're gonna need the full squad to get through this. That, of course, will last about 6 minutes, by the way, and then and then, and then we'll be calling for people's heads 6 minutes into the game. But for at least the hour and 15 minutes in the buildup and the 6 minutes at the start, we can, you know, hopefully have something good going on there. If we're doing, yeah, hopefully Hoyland's turned a corner and gets back on his Europa scoring. If we're doing wage structures, I think 120 for Delap is a top end of fair. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, fair. Hoyland turning point. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. That's all we can say. Let's hope so. Let's hope it's a turning point. Solanke is on 90K. Fair. I mean, 120 is not small then, is it? Minu is starting to get Ugarte out of here. Lindelof, Lesabi. Well, what's the other alternative? What's the alternative? You know? It's just me that thinks Yoro is better much at the center than Maguire. No, I think he's better wide. I think he's been running forward really well. Really though, James, do you think some United staff are watching you, other YouTubers? Yeah, they do in general, but for different reasons. I don't know that it's exactly like what people think it is, but I do know they do. Minutes for Mantato. I think we'd have to be winning. I don't think we're gonna throw the kids in. I don't know. I still have concerns over Delap. I just do. For the same reason we've gone over so many times. His output for how much he touches the ball is good, but but I still have so many doubts over how he's going to play outside of a team that's where he's like running on the break and super and all of that. James went super professional in his EKB video. We see it. Thanks, appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. The lab gives me Dan James vibes. Oof. Oof. What I want to gauge because I'm actually just quite curious at people's feelings on this. I actually don't know what the general opinion on Delap is. I've tried to be fairly balanced. And I genuinely do not know if people think he's good or shit. Dan James was fine for what he was, for what he was. For what he was okay, For what he was, he's fine. But beyond that, he wasn't exceptional. I doubt that Ten Hag was interviewed this much because he didn't speak English that well. I think Delap is 30 for 30 million. Look, here's the thing, right? I think Delap for 30 million is fine, but I'm not sure he's the solution. So, all right. So, based on the vote so far, it's pretty split in the middle. So, I'm going to ask a different question here. Is Delap the long-term solution? Yes or no? Is Delap good enough? So let's ask it in a different way. Not value for money. Is he good enough to be our number one? Different question. Like our long-term guy. Now we get a big swing there. Interesting. Okay. I'm just asking for your opinion. I'm not asking you to predict the future. I'm just asking for your opinion. Damn, James would have been good as a backup. Yeah. So now it shifts. It shifts. So it goes from 50-50 to 70-30. And so most people think he's good. I guess I would say half people think he's good enough, probably based on value, but only about 30% think he's good enough to be a long-term guy, is basically what I'm gathering. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm fine with him as a 30 million player, but I don't think he's the guy I think we're going to end up having to buy another striker. That's why, again, if we get Cunha in as well, then I'm okay. It's calm. I'm fine. But we certainly need more. And I do worry about it not being nailed on. But I think he's okay for 30 million signing. You don't have to sell to have a backup. I think we'll move on Højlund. And, you could have Delap and another striker. So, what's wrong with that? Delap plus a striker is a good thing for me. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I would tend to agree. He's maybe not the guy. The guy, but he's a guy. You know, he's a guy who will make us better for the money, but not maybe the guy. People don't want Delap because he's white in English. I don't think that's it, to be honest. I've seen that sentiment, and I think that applies to some players, but I don't think it applies to Liam Delap. I think that I think it's extremely valid to look at Delap and say he's similar. I'm not comparing him to Hoyland and saying that all players are the same, but similarly to Hoyland before we signed him, he is playing in a team that is more transition based with not having much of the ball. He is. And most of his goals are scored playing on the run, picking it up, dribbling, and shooting and scoring. That's the truth. It is true. You look at his numbers. Someone shared like a whole thingy the other day, and Delap's numbers. He's like the high. He's one of the highest in picking up the ball, dribbling, and making his own shot, and that's good. That's a great skill, but it's maybe not what we needed. Maybe not what we need. I don't know. I like it's not. It doesn't convince me of some things, you know, that could happen. I guess that's my concern. Like it doesn't convince me of like I'm not. I worry about certain aspects. I just don't know. To me it's an unknown. It's not a bad. It's an unknown. Um, not a that's what it is. It's like it's just unknown. It's not about. He does create his own shots. He does pull that kind of stuff off, but he's and then he's like, I think he'll be better, but I still don't know that it's what we need long term because we don't know. We just haven't seen him play. It's not like he's got all these years of experience in a high possession team. He, you know, he he played for Hull the season before. Um, like a different team. He's never had like a prolific season in a big team. That has a lot of the ball. So I don't know how to take it. I'll be honest. I really don't know how to take it. Ooh, here's a story. This is from earlier. Was this in this article earlier? Hold on. Pull this up. I'm gonna have some victory laps to run if this is what happens in end. Which wouldn't be a surprise, to be fair. Yeah. Now, I don't think that he's going to make much money from this, but it may just be a matter of distraction. He says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to sell OGC Nice and to finance a full takeover of Manchester United. Now, I don't know how much money he'll actually get from selling Nice. There might be other assets involved. There might be leverages involved. There might be things like that just free things up a little bit. But I wouldn't be particularly surprised if he wanted to further divest out of Nice as a club. It's let informe investigative media with a team of 16 journalists. They're not even like a sports thing. I genuinely have absolutely no idea what kind of source that is. He's commissioned Lazard. Who's Lazard? Lazard is a financial services company. Interesting. So the article or the tweet from the original reporter says that he has commissioned a financial services company and an investment bank in order to get the sale of Nice done. One step above, trust me, bro. I mean, I don't know. I have absolutely no clue if that is a valid anything. I mean, it would be weird if they were like completely fake because they report on business deals. They're not like it's not like they're a sports outlet. This paper or this outlet. They're not like they're not sitting here like reporting on transfers and stuff. They're reporting on general business things. So they tend to look legit in the articles and things they're putting out. Why was Jim at the Bournemouth game? Because he's an owner. He's an owner of the club, you know. So that's, you know, they wouldn't have a reason to lie. Exactly. Like, I don't know. No, I mean, realistically, if they get into Champions League, I could imagine he might be able to sell Nice for 150 to 200 million. Maybe there's other assets involved. Not going to give him a gigantic amount of money, but it's cash, and cash is big. Given the thing we need with like the stadium and stuff like that too, there's very likely going to be finance involved in any move that we make. He's gonna sell Nice to the Glazers. trade them for equity. Um, but I don't know. That is a curious one for me. But maybe they can, yeah. I mean, maybe they can. Maybe allows us to get more money, and then he can use that as a part of financing a loan. That might be a part of other aspects to all of this. You never know. Nice is collateral for more shares. Imagine being a Nice fan and that was your glove was put up as collateral. That would be ugly, man. I'd have to sit there and go, yeah. Like that's something. Oh man, we've almost made it, guys. We've almost made it to lineups. I 2 hours and 7 minutes. We're 9 minutes away from lineups. So almost there, and then we'll do lineups, and then I'll go and I'll like eat something and then go for the watch along later. Just as a reminder on that, I will be doing the watch along here in today. The link is below. I'm big up there. I'm fixing something on the shop, but then as well, like I said, there's a link there to you can play a game and compete against the rest of the community. Right now, it's the money option, the betting and money option, but they're going to be building out something that we can do for to play games as a community and have leaderboards and stuff like that. But for now, they have the money option to bet on the game and compete and things like that. But in the end, we'll have a bigger thing for the community that we can do. Just you similar. I try to do something like Twitch, where you can earn points like by watching and hanging out and different things and have games and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. I'm kind of excited for that. Watch the Wolves for Lakers game. I did. It definitely looks like LeBron is at the end, at the end. Rush Manu gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Rush. I really, really do appreciate that when you do that all the time. They have some nice facilities. Issa's gone again, so he's not gonna get. Yeah, that guy's been begging for a membership to be gifted for ages. But thank you, Rush Mano. I really appreciate that. Luca needs to lose weight. He's a cone. Maybe. I mean, I think you just need to get a better supporting cast around him, It's usually how it is when you have a player like that in basketball. There's plenty of great offensive players who've not been that good defensively. But LeBron James, LeBron James. Who's the last United player you got on a jersey? Hold on, I think I have it here. Great kit, great color. People act like I'm a Casemiro hater just because I have a semi-objective opinion on his current levels. Never been true. I've always loved Casemiro, one of my favorite players of all time. I do have the ability to be objective when I see a player struggling, and it's the reality of it. But I always like Casemiro. Zerobi Campion sent 5. Hey, Rushamano, you got one. Like I said, you've never bought one for yourself, even though you've gifted a bunch, and you got one. You got the first one gifted there. Thank you, Zerobi. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Just at my workplace. Yeah, it's here by my desk because I used to wear it for the watch longs, but then we kept losing, and so I'm superstitious, as all sports fans are, and now I can't wear it anymore for the games until, I don't know, maybe next season or something. But yeah, we need an office tour one day. Not gonna happen, honestly. It's super boring. Although at some point maybe I'll do some like walk around phone lives, and just show a little bit more of my life. You're blaming me for the 7-0. Well, the thing is it seems like that's when it turned, An expert on basketball, you're just once in a while. I've watched so much. Zoro is fine. Thanks for all the content. Thank you, brother. Thank you for everybody who supports me. Even my username you pronounce yours. Zorobi Campion. But yeah, Zoro is fine. What do I do for a living? I mean, nowadays it feels like this, but it's not. Hopefully one day it'll be enough this, but no, I work in like marketing and advertising, but it feels like this. But again, that's why there's nights that I just don't sleep. I just do shit and work on shit. Oh, we're almost there. Come on, we're so close, so close. Ten Hag shouldn't have survived for 2 whole years after the No, it's so funny because that one gets brought up a lot, and me as a huge Ten Hag hater, I didn't even blame him for that. To be honest, I didn't even overthink it. Team news coming now. We're still live. 2 hours, 30 minutes later. Nah. No more employees for me. Ten Hag going to Leverkusen would be wild. I really, really worry about this. Like Spurs, I have that same feeling about worrying about Spurs more than anybody else. Just because, again, like this thing of where we've just been bad against Premier League teams, like we've just been bad against Premier League teams, and like we struggle more against Premier League teams than we do against like anybody else. Jokeris James, the deal sounds too obvious, more like Arsenal. I think so, and some of the comments yesterday were obviously, by Amarim saying, the point on not gonna wait for like what would I say, like not gonna if a player wants Champions League, then they're not gonna, then they're not for United and yada yada. I need someone to promote an advertisement. Oh God, no! Stop it. We have no athletes. Yeah, exactly. No, of course they were terrible against Liverpool, but didn't they rotate like 8 players as well? I mean, I'm not saying they're that much better, but yeah, I mean it's still Spurs in a final, but that's the worst part about it, right? Like if you lose to Spurs in a final, oh my God, can you imagine losing to Spurs in a big European final? How do you live that? Like You realize the season we would have to have after that to like everyone would be on Amarim's absolute neck for it, and I don't think it would be fair, but they would, and he's gonna have to win something huge if we lost a final to Spurs. You know, like he'd have to win something really big, really soon, um, to make up for that, because that is rough. You know, that is rough. Going on for 2 hours. Here we go. All right, it's time. It's time. Finally, the lineup. Now the nerves are kicking in. Um, I don't know what it's gonna be here, but and I don't care what the like I said, whatever the lineup is, I'm gonna support it. I'm gonna be fine with it. I'm gonna be happy about it. I'm gonna back the players. But boy, am I nervous. Um, I'm getting nervous. All right, Casemiro, Ugarte, Garnacho, Yoro, Dorgu, Hoyland, Bruno, Maguire. It's the exact team we had. It is. Yep, it's our team. We had it. We had it spot on. It's it's this. This is the team. No changes needed. Exactly what we thought it would be. Exactly what we thought it would be. That's what I thought. that was the expectation. I feel like I understand Amarim, so it makes sense. Why Lindelof? Well, who else would play? I'm just asking. I'm not like being challenging. I'm serious. Who else would play? Who else would play? Shaw played 90 minutes on Sunday. He can't start. He can't. There was the same discussion. It was we had this earlier, and I agree with you. It should have been Shaw, but he cannot play. He can't play. He played 90 on Sunday. He was only cleared for 60. He can't play. He just played 90 plus minutes on Sunday. Toss Fredrickson, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing, right? Hold on. Let's pause. Second half of Lyon, right? Who did we start? Who was the back three? Was it Shaw, Maguire, and Yoro? And I said, I blame me for this. I said this could be our best back three. And they were fucking terrible, right? Like they gave up goal after goal after goal after goal. It did not work at all for whatever reason. Shaw was really bad. So you know, it didn't work out. Um, so I now probably Shaw at left back with Mazraoui to the with Dorgu to the right would have been maybe better, and Mazraoui into the back line. But obviously Shaw is not fit enough to play at left wing back. Now on the bench is Delict, Mantato, Ahmad, Mount, Mainu, Eriksson, Shaw, Kamason, Fredrickson, Delict, Amos, Heaton, and Bayindir. So if we're looking at the team and we're talking about changes we can make, obviously, what are we going to do? We're going to take off a midfielder. No doubt about it. If we, at some point in this game, we're going to take off a midfielder and do this because we do it every single game, right? We're gonna change that at some point. This is not the team now. I'm talking about subs. We'll probably put Manu on for a midfielder. Ahmad's in the squad, man. Ahmad's in the squad. It depends on the state of the game, doesn't it? We have Eriksson, Mount, and Ahmad to throw on for the attack. And we have Amos and Delict to throw on for defense. So maybe like you could go with like at some point you could throw Ahmad in here for a little bit of minutes. You can get Delict on for a little bit. Maybe you can get Amos on at one point to get like Maguire a rest because he usually can't play 90 minutes. But then again, Maguire in a big European game, you're gonna want to keep him on. Maybe it's Euro who would come off. You're gonna want to keep Maguire on. Maybe at some point you get like Amos in there, right? And then if you're still chasing the game here, you get like a Mason Mount in there. I don't know. You could just throw attackers. Yeah, like just throw people on there. But then again, I think you kind of also, depending on the game, you probably want Casemiro instead of Ugarte at the end of the game, right? For the set pieces and things like that. Yeah, so there's that too. So it could be Casemiro. It depends on the state of the game. It depends on the state of the game. Like if it's level, I think he'll keep Ugarte on because we can have a draw. But if we're chasing it, then I think it'll be Casemiro who stays on and Ugarte comes off. Even though sometimes it doesn't quite work out that way, but still, yeah. Or maybe you keep Casemiro and Ugarte on since they're both decently well rested. And you just get the front three cooking like this or something at some point. Yeah. Ugarte gets hooked when we're chasing the game. When we need goals. So, yeah. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of ways that this could play out. There's no doubt about that. But we've got options. I mean, look at the niceness of this in terms of options. We have off the bench so many players who can change and influence the game now. And that is a good sign to me. That makes me happy. Just the fact that we could get like just the facts just the fact that we could get like that we have these players to put on is a big deal, isn't it? I mean, it means a lot to me that we can change the game. We can go more defensive, we can go more attacking. There's a lot of things that we could do. Yeah, yellows got wiped. Yes, yellows did get wiped. Lamuel, you bastard. Yeah, yellows did get wiped. So, but no, like, look, if I was gonna say one thing we could do, if you wanted to go more attacking right off of the bat, like if you just wanted to make one sub and make it more attacking, boom, there's your sub right there. Lindelof for Ahmad, right? Lindelof for Ahmad. Ugarte booking is a sure bet, probably. Yeah. There you go. There's one sub you could make to start to get more attacking. That's one thing you could do. To chase a goal. You could do that right off you could do that as soon as you want. And that makes your back three more solid and gives you more in the attack. That's probably the first change that I would make if we're still needing a goal. I didn't see their lineup. Are they missing some players? Are they missing Unai Simons? Oh, and you could put Luke Shaw at left back. Like if you want to attack this game, this starts to get better. Then throw Kobbie Mainoo in here somewhere, and you could go get some goals. For real, like, yeah, you could go get some goals. And then throw Kobbie Mainoo into this as well. All right, guys. I've been live for 2.5 hours. I got to do a couple of things. They always play their. Well, we did that with Romero, even when De Gea was good, right? We did that with Romero, so I guess that makes sense. Um, I guess that makes sense. Well, not chasing the game, but just trying to go for the win. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna head home to do the watch along from home so that I don't have to control my volume so much. And thanks for hanging out for these long 2.5 hours that we've made it through. A reminder: I'll be on Big Up down below. The merchandise shop will be live again in a few minutes down below. I'm just fixing something, and then yeah, if you want to play and compete with United Community and for now do it with money, then it's there. Later on, we'll have other options as well. But thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you all later.